Welcome everybody to our asana and chanting practice. And I'd like to begin with the mantra chanting. And so come to a comfortable cross-legged position. Let's go ahead and bring our spine to a straight position. Wrap the shoulders down and back and let your hips relax. Good, then lengthen the back of the neck a little bit and lift your sternum up towards your throat. And then just come into this really nice neutral spine. Allow everything to just be settling into your position. Let your asana become comfortable and without strain. The definition of asana means seat. And how that reflects in our yoga posture practice is that the asana is to be as comfortable as a seat would be. So let's go ahead and join our palms together in the namaste, where the light in you views the light in me. It's the divine in me, recognizes the divine in you. So bringing the hands again to that namaste, drop your forehead down to your heart and allow again to not let your posture shift too much, even though the head draws down. So here you're in a position of respect, of gratitude, connecting to your heart center, connecting to your breath. Let your eyes close gently if that's okay. Otherwise, you can rest your eyes on something softly. Let your gaze remove any hardness, any compactness, crumpling. And just feel this particular asana here. We are in Sukhasana. You'll notice that many of the Sanskrit poses, the names of the poses in Sanskrit have the word asana after the first part of the word, as this is telling us that it is a posture. And Sanskrit is considered a divine language, and it's a perfect language, it is said, as it covers all sorts of angles and directions, and it's connected to vibratory sounds. So the sounds of the letters also have meaning. And so this is the language of yoga, and it's also the language of many Indian priestesses. Good, so let's go ahead and now begin a little bit of pranayama, the practice of breathing, practice of connection and control of our breath in order to direct our vital energy, known as prana, specifically in a certain way, and to also improve its quality. So you'll notice if you spend a lot of time in front of screens, not breathing very deeply, very richly, you'll notice that your vital energy diminishes. And so by bringing attention to our vital energy, we're able to improve it and expand it and create more vitality in the mind, a shine to our eyes, a luminosity to our thinking, and it has a wide-ranging effect on all of the systems of the body. So let's go ahead and connect to that breath through awareness of the breath. So inhale through your nostrils. And gently exhale softly, however you like. And let's inhale again. And exhale. And inhale one more time. And exhale. And just let yourself pause between those exhales so that you slow your mind down. All right, we'll begin the chanting of Om. And Om is understood to be the sound of the cosmos or the sound of the earth. It is a humming sound that pervades everything and helps us connect to the cycle of our life, the cycle of time, birth, sustaining, and then destruction or the demise. And the sound itself also comes into that reality. So the sound begins, it's the birth of the sound, then you sustain it for a little bit, and then you end it as the breath ends, right? As that exhale ends, and then you recycle it again. So it really connects us to the cycle of life, the cycle of our cells birthing, sustaining, and also then dying. And it just gives us a little bit of a connection to our essential nature, taking us out of, limited thinking, self-obsession, and restriction in the mind. So join me. Let's join together in chanting of Om. And let's go ahead and chant 5 times today, connecting to our breath. And this practice is a form of pranayama, actually. So we lengthen the exhale in order to extend the sound. And let it inhale, let it originate from your belly, rise all the way up to your chest and out through your throat. Inhale. So completing the Om, allow the vibration to just settle into your being. Go ahead and cycle a full breath. And I will chant the student teacher mantra for us. And if any questions about this mantra, it's in the very first module. You can listen or you can receive if you know it. Or you can chant it with me if you know it. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Saha Vedyang Kadavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So let's go ahead and inhale deeply. Exhale softly, draw your forehead down to your heart. Again, lift your sternum if you let it shrink down towards the floor. So may we be nourished together. May we be protected together. May we have strength and energy together. And then together, may we never have any animosity towards one another. Peace and peace and peace. Let's rub the palms together now, inhaling while you rub. And then exhale, just gently bring the hands over the eyes and create a little bit of that momentary lapse into the present moment. And then completing one full round, begin to exhale and bring the hands out. Hold your gaze gently. And let's go ahead and release the hands down. So I want you to be able to see this wall over here, angle of my back wall. And we will again practice postures from this Ashtanga Yoga primary series, but today I'm going to workshop a little bit as I've been getting some requests and some questions about some of the postures, which is what I'm welcoming anybody to do. And so I'd like to go into a few primary postures today where we can practice them several times and break them down. So one of the postures is going to be Halasana, which is the plow pose. Then Sarvangasana, which is also the shoulder stand. Then we will have Shirshasana, the headstand. And then we will also have Urdhva Dhanurasana, the wheel posture. And I have posted also in this section a cartoon graphic that shows how to get into the wheel pose, which tends to be a posture that you can work on over and over and over for many years. So that's there for you as well. All right, so with that said, we will practice some warm-ups as well in order to warm the body up for these postures, and we won't spend so much time as we did last week in the length of the practice, but we will spend at least a good amount of time with the movement and the breath. Okay, so before we do that, let's go ahead and cross the legs the other direction, and I'm going to talk about what's called the Ujjayi Pranayama. And the Ujjayi Pranayama, it's within your reading in terms of yogic terms, and this is a very sort of important breath, and it's used in many ways in yoga practice. It can be practiced in the asana practice. It can be practiced as an isolated standalone practice, as a seated practice. And it can be also done in many variations of alternate nostril breathing. In addition to it, it can be done with what are called the bandhas. It can be done with retentions of these locks along the spine as well. All right, so the primary action of this posture, of this breath practice, is understood as, sometimes it's called an ocean breath. That's not always exactly accurate, but for the purposes of the teaching today, I think it's going to be just fine. There is a little bit of a constriction in the back of the throat when you do practice this breath. This allows you to lengthen the breath, and this is the key. It also places you in a very meditative state, and it calms the thought waves of the mind, the chitta vrittis, these activities of the mind that are constantly active. And so I am going to also post a link that allows you to hear that sound on Zoom. It's very difficult to hear it, but I will practice it with you. And those of you who know it, it sounds like you're creating the sound of the ocean in the back of your throat, and it creates a victorious sensation. And in yoga practice, what is victory? Victory is a mind that is pure and free of worry, of jealousy, of comparison, of separateness, et cetera, of anger, greed, all of these kinds of things. So it says that this breath brings a type of victory to the state of the mind, and that's why it's so common and popular in yoga practice. So first, let's go ahead and just practice it seated just for a little bit, and then we'll come up and we'll practice it in our asana practice. So we can bring the arms out to extend. You can go ahead and come into the Yana Mudra. You can have your fingers turned down or up. In this particular variation, I like to have my palms open. When I practice other types of breathing, when my hands are closer up, I like to have my hands down. It allows my mind to ground. This one helps me create an open chest. So we're going to breathe into the throat. So let's go ahead and drop the chin down a little bit and inhale. And when you exhale, kind of tighten the glottis in the back of the throat and create the sound of the ocean. That was one exhale. And I'm pretty sure you didn't hear it through the Zoom, but you heard it in your own throat. So that's a good thing. Let's try again. Inhale. And then exhale. Again, we did practice this last week in our video. I believe so. So let's inhale again. And then create that ocean sound, exhale. Good, and then go ahead and release. Let's go ahead and switch the legs again. And now we're gonna practice this with the bandha. So bring the attention to the lower abdomen, to the lower pelvis, to the pelvic floor. So the pelvic floor is like a saddle that you sit on, and there is muscle and fleshy part in between the genitals and the anus. And this whole saddle, we're trying to lift up and squeeze it, almost like when you were trying to hold yourself from going to the bathroom. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. On the inhale, lift the pelvic floor. Good, and now we'll exhale with the sound of the ocean and release the pelvic floor along the whole trail of that exhale. Good, releasing the pelvic floor. Inhale again. And as you inhale, lift and squeeze your pelvic floor. For Mula Bandha. Exhale. Creating the sound of the ocean. One more inhale. Lift the pelvic floor. Exhale. Good, now just have a breath on your own and notice the quiet that may have come from that simple practice. Let your breath be free now. Good, and now we're going to inhale. Lift the pelvic floor, everybody, and now draw your chin to your chest. And now squeeze your chin towards your throat and lift your pelvic floor. Now lift your chin and exhale with the ocean breath. You're now practicing 2 bandhas. Jalandhara bandha at the throat and then Mula bandha at the base of the spine. Let's try that again. Inhale. Lifting your pelvic floor as you inhale. Good. Now hold the pelvic floor, hold your breath, chin to the throat, and lift your sternum up towards your chest, towards your throat. Lift your chin, exhale, create the sound of the ocean, taking about maybe 5 seconds to exhale. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Again, inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Hold, drop your chin down, squeeze your pelvic floor. Lift your chin, exhale, create the ocean sound. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good, now just let your breath be free, 1 or 2 breaths, natural. Good, and then now we're gonna do one more. We're just gonna join one of the third bandhas is where you focus on really drawing the belly button in. So we'll practice all 3 bandhas. We'll lift the pelvic floor. We'll pause and draw the chin down. Then we'll exhale, create the ocean sound of the Ujjayi breath. And then we'll pause at the end and we'll bring the navel in. Okay, we're going to go deeper into this in our pranayama practice, but I do want to introduce this for this asana practice today. So let's begin. Inhale, lift your pelvic floor. Good. Pause, hold the pelvic floor up, drop the chin down. Let your tongue slide back a little bit in your throat. Lift the chin. Now exhale 5 seconds. 5, create the ocean sound. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now squeeze your belly button in and up and hold. 1, 2. Inhale, lift the pelvic floor. Extend the belly, lift up towards the chest. Good. Drop the chin down, hold. Lift the chin, exhale that ocean sound, releasing the pelvic floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now hold your belly button in just for count of 2. 1 and 2. Last one, inhale. Lifting the pelvic floor up as you inhale. Stop at the throat, drop the chin down, slide your tongue back for Jalandhara bandha. Lift your chin. Everybody exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Releasing the pelvic floor down. Squeeze the belly button in. 1 and 2. And now relax the bandhas, those 3, inhaling naturally, exhaling softly. Good. And then just notice the quality of your mind, the quality of your energy, your vital life force energy. And we're now going to transition. Let's come off of whatever we were sitting on and come onto your hands and knees. Let's go ahead and begin some of the asana. And we're going to practice a little bit more as a workshop as far as the postures are concerned. So let's go ahead and come into a child pose, stretch back. And you can continue the Ujjayi pranayama throughout the practice today. So even if I don't cue you, even if I don't bring it to your attention, you can definitely continue that long exhale with the constricted throat. Eventually we would do it on the inhale as well, but that takes some time to develop the strength for that. All right, super. So let's go ahead and come up now on the inhale, sit on your heels. And a key part of practicing inversions, which a lot of the practices that I mentioned are, is to use abdominal strength and also to strengthen the diaphragm. The way to strengthen the diaphragm is by breathing in your asana practice, in the practice of the postures, as well as doing the pranayama practice, which we are, of course, going to be practicing throughout the rest of the course. So let's go ahead and first let's do some warm-ups by crisscrossing the ankles. And let's go ahead and extend the legs all the way out. Sit up tall. Let's go ahead and interlace the fingers, reach the arms up to the ceiling. And exhale, release arms down. Let's try that again. Inhale, reach up. And exhale. Good. Notice that I'm keeping my legs relatively firm, so you can repeat. Inhale, reach up. And then exhale, we're going to float all the way down. We're going to come onto our back and bring the arms overhead. Now inhale again. And then exhale, bring the arms up to the ceiling, hold your breath, and then come up like a sit-up. Good. And then exhale, we're going to release the arms down, and you're going to take a little forward bend. Don't worry about using a strap or anything, just release forward. Good. Let's go ahead and interlace fingers, reach up again. Exhale, let's cool down. Inhale again. Hold your breath. Come up. And then exhale, release the hands to the feet and fold. Maybe come down a little bit more. Good, squeeze your belly back. Inhale, come up. Exhale, roll. And then inhale, raise the arms up to the ceiling. Hold the breath, come up again, and then exhale, let's release down. Good, now we're gonna bring a little breath into it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come up and hold the breath. And then when we fold forward, we're gonna double exhale through the mouth and fold, okay? So inhale up, exhale, roll down. Inhale, lift your hands to the ceiling, hold the breath, come up, and then double exhale, fold down. Inhale up, exhale back. Inhale, come up, hold the breath, double exhale, fold down. Up, down, come up, double exhale. Keep going, a few more. Inhale up and down. Come up, double exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, up, double exhale. Good. From here, let's come up one more time. And then exhale, roll down vertebrae by vertebrae as slow as maybe you can go. Really connecting to the front of your body. Good, bring the arms overhead and here bend the knees, sweep the legs up, or if you like, you can just raise the legs straight all the way up. Good, and then make adjustment if you need to, if it came off the mat, which I did. Good. And then from here, stretch the legs all the way up to the ceiling. Let's inhale. Make any adjustment to your hand position. If you'd like, you can bring the hands underneath the hips. You can also just keep the hands outside the hips. Arms can be all the way overhead as well. Let's go ahead and release the right leg down. Let it hover. And then raise that right leg up. Let's do the other side. Left leg comes down, hover. And then up. And then right again. Ujjayi, exhale. Inhale down. Exhale up. One more each side. Inhale down. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale up. Good. Now let's do the opposite. Inhale here. Exhale. Now lower both legs. Inhale up both legs. You can continue repeating the single leg variation too. Exhale, lower. Inhale up. Exhale, lower. Inhale up. And then exhale, lower. Inhale up. And now give yourself a little hug. So that was just warm up. Now we're going to go ahead and do a little bit more of a repeat on that. So you can roll along the base of your spine and wake up your back, smooth out the connective tissue there a little bit. And then come into any hand position that you feel comfortable so that you can do 20 reps of this practice. If you tire, you can do single leg. You can also do bent knee. Okay, just try to stay in the practice rather than abandoning it and just create a variation. Okay, let's go ahead and inhale, everybody. Exhale, let's lower for 1, 2. Try to lift your hips, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Let's do 10 more. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then 1. One more. And then bring your knees into your chest, give yourself a hug, and then recapitulate your breath. Good. Another way to build strength through yoga asana is come to Jatara Parivartanasana. So we're going to bring the arms up to the side now. Roll the shoulders, the outer shoulders down. And then slide your hips to the left and drop your knees to the right. And first just come into a nice twist. And then come up, inhale. And then kind of take a little jump and take your hips to the right. And then lower the leg all the way to the left. And come up again. And let's try that again. Slide your hips to the left. This time, roll your knees to the right. Let them hover now. And then squeeze your belly button in. And then come up. And then let's lift and slide the hips to the right and roll to the left. And then up again. Lift and slide. Roll to the right. And come up. And lift, slide to the right. Let's roll to the left. And come up. Good. Now balance on both sides of the sacrum, and give yourself a hug. Now place your hands alongside your hip, and we're going to try to do another little jumping here with the hips. So we're going to bring the legs up, And then from here, inhale, and then just lift the hips up and come down. All right, so strengthening now the upper abdomen. Lift up and come down. Just like you're going to go into a shoulder stand. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Press against the outside of the shoulders. 8, 9, and 10. 10 more. 10, 9, 8, and 7, 6, 5, 4. Press to the heel. 3, 2. Last one. Good. And then bring the knees into the chest. Relax. Give yourself a hug. Now release the hips, the feet towards the floor. My speech is a little bit staggered today. Place the soles of the feet on the floor or on your mat. Hip distance. Good. Place the hands beside the hips, roll the shoulders under the back, and let's lift up and come into bridge pose. Good. So open the front of the hips, open the front of the chest, and let's interlace the fingers underneath the hips, wrap the shoulders under, and let's come into that Ujjayi Pranayama. So inhale, and create the ocean sound on the exhale. And as you do that, let your belly button come in. Again, inhale, exhale. And again, and exhale. You release the hands, slowly roll the hips all the way to the floor, and bring your knees back into your chest again. And go ahead and wiggle side to side. Let's stretch the left leg on the floor, bring your right knee into your chest. And let yourself press to that left heel. Take the right foot and place it on the inside of the left thigh. So you're coming down into a lying down tree pose. And open the front of the hips, let the sides of the groins open. And then interlace the fingers, raise the arms all the way overhead. And let's go ahead and inhale. And then exhale, create the ocean breath sound. Feel the navel coming into the spine. And let's do that again. Inhale. And exhale. So it should be that ocean sound coming out. Good. Now just release the arms to the side. And let's go ahead and bring the right leg back up. And then this time, go ahead and stretch the hamstring all the way towards your, bringing the foot towards your face. And then from here, inhale, lift the chest up. Good. And then wake up the abdomen again. And give yourself a hug and firm that left leg. So this position is important because this is going to build us some flexibility and strength to bring the leg up in the shoulder stand, right? If you bring one leg at a time, this is important to have this flexibility and this awakening of the abdomen. Good, and from here, just release the right leg all the way down. And then reach the arms overhead, reach back, interlace. Hold here, exhale. Create the ocean sound. Feel that navel moving into the spine. And let's try that again. Inhale. Expand and lengthen. And now exhale, bring the left knee into the chest, and you can also practice that Ujjayi on the exhale. And then from here, let's go ahead and shift that into the lying down tree pose on the other side. So bring that the sole of the left foot on the inside of the right thigh. And spread the hip bones apart from each other. And then inhale, reach back with the arms interlaced again. Touch your shoulder blades into the earth. And then exhale, Ujjayi Pranayama. Let's inhale again. Good, and then exhale, Ujjayi. The bottom of the exhale, just release the arms down. And then inhale, raise that left knee up. Come back into that one-legged squeeze, Ekapada Padmasana. And then stretch your left leg up to the ceiling, stretch the hamstring, and then begin to climb up the leg and draw the knee or the shin closer towards you. And then again, waking up the abdomen and then increasing the flexibility in the back of the left leg. You can just hold the leg any part that you feel comfortable. If you do have the flexibility, you can hold the calf. You can even hold the foot. You'll notice the more you pull the left leg, the right leg will lift. So press down to the right thigh. And then exhale. And just like a boomerang, just let it kind of come forward. Let's bring both knees again. And then inhale. This time, switch the arms overhead. Lift the hips up. Come back into the bridge pose. Exhale, release the arms to the side. Interlace the fingers underneath the hips. Wrap the shoulders under the back. Good. And then parallel the feet, lift and squeeze, wrap the shoulders, press them down, press the whole arm down, the outside of the arm from the pinky finger side. Press on your big toes, spread them, lengthen the lower back. Good. Release the hands and slowly move down through each vertebrae one by one. And then bring the knees back into the chest. This time, go ahead and take a few little rotations with the knees, opening up the hips. And then go the other direction 3 times. 1, 2, and then 3. Good. Now from here, we're going to repeat a little bit. If your lower back is a little sensitive, you can use the force of the hands here to really bring your hips up. And you can also just do a little minor lift, right? You don't have to lift the hips all the way up. Well, we're just going to sort of go back into a halasana, just a quick one. We're going to inhale, bring the feet overhead, and then slowly roll the hips down and bring the feet down. You can do this with the arms overhead as well, where you bring the feet and you can touch the toes. Inhaling, lift. And then exhale, roll through each spine, coming down, 1, 2, and then 3. Okay, let's begin again. We're going to do a few rounds. So inhale, lift. Exhale, come down. If the hips don't come all the way off the ground, no worries. Just practice the leg raises again. 2. Practice the Ujjayi on the way down. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. You can also use the support of the hands to hold the buttocks and use the hands to support the buttocks coming down. 8. Let's do 2 more. Good, and then roll, let the hips roll down, feet come to the floor, and then just rest. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Go ahead and bend the knees again. Sweep the arms underneath the hips. Lift the hips up. Come back into your bridge pose. So we're counterposing all of the strengthening of the abdomen with a stretch. And then come into the Ujjayi breath again. You can let the outer thighs lift, the inner thighs drop. Lengthen the tailbone and come to that breath. Inhaling and exhaling. Sinking the belly towards the spine. Again, inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. And let's exhale. Good. And then so slowly release the hips down and then bring the knees back into the chest and massage the lower back a little bit. All right. And now from here, we're going to just roll up and then come into a cross-legged position at the top of your mat. The one request I did have was about how do we develop strength in order to hold ourselves up in the inversions. So from the yoga perspective, we build upper body strength through multiple types of postures, but one basic version are the sun salutations. So let's go into some sun salutations now. You're welcome to practice the Surya Namaskar A or classical form, and I will go ahead and practice both. So we'll start out with the classical, and then we'll move into the Surya Namaskar A. So when you're ready, you can go ahead and crisscross your legs, your ankles, come forward, and then bring yourself up. You try that again. Inhale, and press up, and come up. And then try one more time. And come up. All right, let's go ahead and meet at the top of the mat. This side cuts off a little bit, but it's okay. Let's go ahead and start. Good, and then notice how your breath feels. Wrap your shoulders down and back. So I'll start out with the classic Hatha Yoga practice of sun salutations. Hatha Yoga meaning the emergence of the solar and the lunar qualities, meaning the heating and the cooling qualities. And it's the practice that brings us most of the asanas. So we're going to inhale, reach up. And exhale, fold. Inhale, step the right leg back. Look at the third eye. Exhale, meet in plank. And this is another great practice. This position builds us upper body strength. And you'll notice the connection with the abdomen, how important the two are together. Lifting the sides of the waist. Bring the knees to the floor, and then your chest. And then come into Cobra Pose. So Cobra Pose is a pose that allows us to really strengthen the back body to sustain us in inversion and to have a proud spine so that we can meditate. And then straighten the elbows and then return into the mountain pose, or sometimes called downward dog. And then right away, step your right foot to your right thumb, bring the back knee to the floor, just come into the humble variation. This is the lunar part of the posture. Here we relax and cool. And then exhale, step your left foot up and come and fold. And then sweep your arms forward alongside the ears if you can, otherwise up to the side. And then exhale, bring the hands to Namaste. Coming back to that devotional mudra. Let's try again. Inhale, reach up, and then exhale. Squeeze the belly on the way down, fold forward. Step your left leg back. Any variations here are fine. You can raise the arms up. Exhale, let's come back into our plank position. And then bring the knees to the floor, in the chest. And then shrug forward a little bit. Come to Cobra Pose. And then press up into your upward dog. And then meet back in down dog. Step your left foot forward. Bring the back knee to the floor. Gaze towards your third eye. And then exhale, step your right foot to your left and fold. And then inhale, let's go ahead and scoop all the way up. And then exhale, hands to the heart. All right, Surya Namaskar A. We're going to sweep the arms to the side now, reach all the way up. Exhale, fold, bring the arms apart. Look at the wall in front of you, come into that half forward bend, and then exhale, jumper step back, lower down. And then inhale, rise up into your upward dog, and then come to the downward dog. Good, we'll wait here a little bit and breathe. Come into that Ujjayi Pranayama if you'd like to practice. Let's come behind chin on the tippy toes, bend the knees, look forward, and then jump, look up, and we'll look down. Inhale, rise up, flat back, look to the sky, and then exhale. Now take the arms to the side to Samasthiti. Let's do one more. Inhale, reach, and then exhale, let's fold. Inhale, look up, exhale, jumper step back, lower down, up, and then meet back into the down dog. 1, 2, and 3. Let's come high on the tippy toes, bend the knees, lift Mula Bandha as you jump, look forward, halfway, exhale, fold. And let's come up with a flat back, rise up. And then exhale, release down. Okay, we're going to do some standing poses now so that we warm up the lower body and blend it with the Surya Namaskar B series for the sake of time and for the sake of the type of practice we're doing today. So we're going to inhale, bend the knees, squeeze the hands back, exhale, Uttanasana, exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, look up, exhale, jump back, lower down, inhale, rise up, and then exhale, back. Let's turn the left heel down, step the right foot up, everybody. Come up. Come into your warrior 1. Inhale, exhale, let's open to warrior 2. And then straighten out your right leg. Let's come into Utthita Trikonasana. Good. Inhale, exhale, bend your right knee. Come into Utthita Parshvakonasana. And then release the left hand to left hip or keep the left arm up and go ahead and step up and come into balance, Ardha Chandrasana. Good. Exhale, step all the way back. Come back into Utthita Parshvakonasana. Utthita Trikonasana. Vajrasana 2. And then Vajrasana 1. If you're dealing with a wrist injury, don't bring the hands down, obviously. You can just stay here and step up to the front of the mat. Exhale, this time we're going to release the hands to the floor and step back. And we're going to move through, building up that shoulder strength. Inhale, open the chest. And then exhale to downward dog. Now turn your right toe, your right heel in the middle of the mat. Step your left foot to your left thumb. And then from here, we'll rise up, warrior 1. And then come to warrior 2. Utthita Trikonasana. Utthita Parshvakonasana. Ardha Chandrasana. Exhale, step back. Uttita Parsvakonasana again. Uttita Trikonasana. Uttita, I'm sorry, Vajrasana 2. To Vajrasana 1. Release the hands to the floor and then move through. Notice how much more energy you have, how your muscles are awakened. Good, and then meet into downward facing dog. Breathe here around 3 to 5 breaths. Come to the Ujjayi if you let it go in the asana practice. Let's bend the knees, everybody. Let's jump the feet forward, look up, and then look down. Bend the knees. Sweep the arms up, Utkatasana. And then inhale, come to standing Uttanasana Samasthiti. Good. Settle your breath. And then settle your breath. One more round. Good. Now we're going to prepare the head for going upside down now. So we're going to do some preparatory practices in order to accomplish that. And then we'll practice on building some shoulder strength in what's called Uttita Vrikshasana, or Urdhva Vrikshasana, sorry, upward facing tree pose. So first, let's go ahead and just take the legs apart. And we're going to come into Padottanasana, and we're going to reach the arms up and out, and then exhale, bring the hands underneath your shoulders, look up, and then press the thigh bones back. Exhale, let's go ahead and fold down and begin to bring the blood flow to the brain and feel a little bit of pressure. Start to become comfortable with it as you stay in the pose. Good, and we'll do just modified variations of this pose rather than coming any up and down. From here, let's go ahead and walk the hands forward, look up. And then from there, exhale, bring the hands to the waist and fold again. Good, and then inhale, let's come up again and bring the arms to the side. Now, exhale, reach the hands behind the back, lift the forearm up, and then exhale, lift the upper arms up and fold down. Relax the back of the neck and breathe again through the Ujjayi, lengthening the back of the exhale, constricting the back of the throat, pressing the inner thighs to the outer thighs. And then inhale, let's look up halfway again. Bring the arms out into those little airplane wings, and then go ahead and bring the hands to the ankles or the big toes. We grab them with the first 2 fingers. First, extend the length of the spine, and then exhale, let's fold. Bring the shoulders up away from the ears a little bit. Good, and then just feeling the nice pulsating pressure a little bit in the head space. And then let's go ahead and inhale, everybody, look forward, bring the hands to the waist, bring your legs together if that helps you come up more stable, and then let's come up. Good, and heel toe your feet together. All right, so hopefully you have some wall space, and let's go ahead and bring our mats to the wall. So bring it towards the wall, and if you don't have a wall, but you have a door, you can use the door. Just make sure that you lock it so that someone doesn't come in and make you topple. So we're going to do something where we're going to practice downward dog at the wall, and we're going to use the wall to walk our legs up and come into a way to build strength in the shoulders and practice the handstand pose. Move this out of the way. So I'm going to take my feet to the wall and I'm going to come into a downward dog. And so those of you who are really feeling any level of too much pressure in the wrists, or that you feel tired today in the shoulders, you can just practice here. You can also come to the child pose repeatedly and rest. Any of those practices that I showed you in that video at the beginning can also work. You can double your mat and press your wrists this way, right? As well. So there's a little lift on the wrist. Okay, so then from there, we're going to practice going up. We're going to walk the hands back just a little bit. Start to bring the hips a little bit closer towards the wall. And then go ahead and bend your right foot, your right knee. Grip the earth a little bit. And start to maybe walk the legs up the wall. So you'll notice you really got to press into the heel of the hand, and you're going to press the feet into the wall quite a bit. Lengthen the tailbone. Firm your legs and breathe. And then when you're ready, you start to walk down the wall, bring your feet back down and your heels to the wall. And then you can walk the feet forward and then come up, see how it feels, or you can relax in the child pose. So I'm going to switch the angle so you can see from the other direction. And again, come down into the downward dog, bring the heels to the wall again. Walk the hands back again. Now this time we're going to take the left leg up. Come on the tippy toes. And then press the feet into the wall. Press the heel of the hand down. And then when you're ready, come down. And then come into the downward dog. Good, and then just rest in child pose. Extend the arms forward. And then you can come up. Now, if you notice that was really hard to support your weight, you can do it with a belt. So if you do have a yoga strap, like you actually purchase a yoga strap, it's the best version to do it with. You would strap it up. And you would kind of measure out the width of your outer shoulders. Between the outer shoulders and the inner shoulders. And then you'll take that big loop and you'll bring it up to just on top of the elbows, right? So not below the elbows, but on top here. And I'll come down into the downward dog and make sure that your arms are pressing into the belt. If you notice that the belt gets really slack, then come down and then tighten it up a little bit more. Okay. And then you can come back and come into the down dog. See how that feels. See how there's that supporting of the arms. Then you can walk the hands back a little bit more. And then you can go up again. Take the right foot up. And then the left.
And you might notice you feel a little bit more support. Pressurize the outer arms into the belt. Good. And then press the heels of the legs of the feet into the wall. And then when you're ready, you can come down, relax in the downward dog again. And then bring the knees down and relax. Release the belt. Let's do one more time. If you're using the belt, use the belt. If you're not using the belt, don't use it. And I'll show from this angle. Coming into the downward facing dog. Turn your biceps back a little bit. Walk the hands back slightly. Good, and then walk the left foot up. Come up. Good, pressurize the heel of the hand down. Like it with the belt. And stay with your breath. Then when you're ready, start to walk your feet down. Come back into the downward dog. And then just release into child pose. And you can take the hands off the belt, the wrists, the arms from the belt, and relax. Bend your forehead, bend your forearms, relax the forehead down. And then when you're ready, you can come up. Now, while that pose specifically wasn't in the series that we did last week, it's a great way to build up the shoulder strength in order to be able to sustain yourself in some of the other postures, like the back bend posture and the headstand. Another posture that we can do as a prep to help us is called Vajrasana. We can also use the wall again for this as well. So this is known as the peacock pose. And we can do it without the wall at first. So let's go ahead and come onto our hands and knees. And then from there, we're going to come down onto our forearms. So we're going to create that 11. And let's go ahead and pressurize the wrists down, the forearms down. And then let's go ahead and take the right leg back and then the left. Let's just come into a plank variation. So this allows us to build, again, that connection between the front chain, the abdominal chain, and the arms. Good, and then stay here with your breath. And then when you're ready, walk the knees forward and just give yourself a rest and breathe. So this practice, the point is not to create exhaustion like many fitness classes, right? We just sort of, you work out super like high intensity interval training, things like that, where you just kind of keep going. You do take a little rest, but you're trying to really elevate your heart rate variability and all that, your heart rate. This is a little bit different, whereas we want to improve our energy life force in a very specific way in order to sustain us over the course of long-term endurance. Okay, let's try again. Come onto the forearms, squeeze a little bit of 11, walk the left leg back and then the right, and then come into this forearm plank. If you notice that your fingertips come together, that's okay. Good, so with your breath. And then when you're ready, walk your knees forward and then again, rest again. So you may feel some contraction on the front of the shoulders building. And that's to be expected as we're working on the strength. We'll counterpose that in a little while. Okay, let's repeat. We're going to come up, come onto the forearms again and spread the fingers. Press down on the thumb side of the hand. So I can show it facing this way. Thumb side. Good, and then from there, we're going to pressurize down. Now this time, instead of stretching the legs all the way back, we're going to curl the toes and lift the hips, come into like a downward dog. Coming into dolphin. Good. And then I'll show from the side, stay in the posture. You can. Bring your chest toward your thighs. Your head is elevated. The head is not touching the earth. It's just hanging like a fruit. Good. And then let's go ahead and release the knees down and then rest your forehead on your forearms. Good. Now let's combine those two practices. We're going to combine the dolphin plank with the dolphin posture. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring the forearms to the floor. Walk the knees back a little bit. Curl the toes. Stretch the right leg back and the left leg. Pressurize the elbows, forearms, inner wrist, and the thumb side of the hand. Pull your chest through a little bit. Good. Now from here, we're going to lift the hips, walk the feet in towards the elbows. Keep the head suspended. Bring the chest back towards the thighs. And then from there, let's go ahead now, walk the feet back, come back into that dolphin plank again. And then this time, just bring the hips to the floor and come into Sphinx Pose. Let's try that again. Inhale, let's curl the toes, lift the hips up, lift the knees, come to the dolphin plank. And then walk the feet forward again. Bring your hips over your shoulders as much as you can. If there's tight hamstrings, the knees will be bent. And it's okay. Just do your best. Wrap your outer arms back so the biceps move back towards the outer knees. Keep the shoulders from sinking into the floor. Keep them lifting up. Good. And then let's walk the feet back again. Pause in the dolphin plank and then release the hips to the floor. Let's come into Sphinx Pose. You notice there's a right angle with my elbows. Good. Curl your toes one more time. Let's lift, walk in, bring the knees forward now and down, and then rest your forearms on the forehead. Forehead on the forearms. Good. And then just go ahead and come up. Now we can repeat this by using the wall like we did with the handstand. So you can bring your feet towards the wall. I'll show you from this side. You can curl the toes, lift up, and then slowly start to bring your forearms back. And then take one leg up and then the second leg. Wrap the outer arms back again. Chest moves, lifts up towards the chin. And then walk your feet down when you're ready. And then rest. Good. Let's try that one more time. Now do it from this angle. If your hands are coming together, that's okay too, if you'd like to do it that way. Iyengar method is to keep the hands separate. And I'll show you a way to do that with the blocks in the next phase of this practice. So we're going to curl the toes, lift the heel, lift the hip. Coming into this variation, if you'd like to just stay here, this is really good. Pressurizing the heels towards the wall. Spread your collarbones. And again, connect to the breath. Inhale. And then exhale, let's walk one foot up. The opposite if you can. Squeeze the muscles of the leg so that you don't dump into the shoulders. Stay with your breath. And then when you're ready, come down. You can stay longer if you'd like. And Press the forehead onto the forearms. Good, and then let's go ahead and come up. So the final pose actually of this variation, while it builds us strength to go into other inversions, is a pose all on its own called Pincha Mayurasana. It's a peacock feather. And we can go back to using the belt above the elbows. And then you bring the block to the wall. And you place the fingers, thumb and index finger, to the outside of the block. So close up, you'll place it like this. All right, so you're connecting the thumb and index finger to the block. Make sure the strap is not going to disturb you. And you're going to bring the elbows to the floor. And you want to make sure that there is no slack on the belt, but it's also not constraining your shoulders, so you injure the inner shoulders. So I'm going to open mine a little bit wider. And now this time we're going to benefit from creating that stretch that we did at the beginning of class. We're going to walk in and we're going to raise the right leg up. So this may be where you're going to hang out. And it's a great pose. Pressurize the forearms down. And then release the right leg down. And let's switch the left leg up. All the same actions apply. And then release the left leg down and bring your knees to the floor and just rest. You can come out of the strap. Good, and then last bit, I'll show you. We will kick up to the wall. So make sure that you don't want to kick up too hard that you break anything. You don't want to break a door or a wall. But at the same time, it does demand a little bit of connection to your breath and a little bit of flexibility. So any of the earlier postures that we have done today help with this. So we're going to lift up. I'm going to walk in and I'm going to lift my right leg up. And I'm going to use the left leg to really, like a shock absorber, lift. And then lift the feet up towards the wall, heels against the wall. And breathe. And when you're ready to come down, you just bring one leg down and you rest. So in case you just watched that, let's try again. It's good to watch before you go up. If you don't have a strap and all that, and you don't have the prop, you can do it without, of course. So I'll show it without. So let's try to do it again. If you're not practicing going up on the wall, just do any of the early part of the pose. I'm gonna walk in, and then this time I'm gonna go up with the opposite leg. And then lift. Keep the chest lifting towards the chin. Oop, and then maybe one leg comes down and catches you, and then rest. Okay, then come up. Sit in the Vajrasana. Let's go ahead and counter pose. Reach the hands back. Open the chest. Good, and drop your chin down and go ahead and come into a few neck circles.
Good, and then switch the clasp of the fingers again, and then this time come and fold into a child pose, but keep your arms elevated. And stretch the front of the shoulders. Drop the hands to the right, and then the hands to the left. And then come up, and then switch the grip of the hands. And then again to the right and to the left. Come to neutral, and then let's rise all the way up. Next posture is the Shirshasana. So this one I prefer to practice with a blanket. If you don't have a blanket and you want to just go up on your mat, that's not a problem. I'm going to go ahead and grab the blanket from my cat. She wasn't too happy about that. And you're going to fold it like this. You notice it's in a square position. So these Mexican blankets work the best as they are thin weave, but they are nicely compacted. So I'm going to take the blanket to the wall, and I'm going to have the rounded edge towards me. The grip is this. I'm going to interlace my fingers. And then there's the pinky. I'm going to bring it inside the hand, and I'm going to create like a little bowl. Notice my thumbs are going to stay up because I'm going to place the hands at the back of my skull, and my thumbs are going to drape down towards my occipital lobe. I'm going to put the weight of my entire body on my forearms and on the crown of my head. So this position has the crown of the head touching the earth. And I want to bring my elbows in. You'll notice they're going to be in line with my armpits. Oftentimes when people go up, they go up like this, or like that. And then last bit, you want to make sure that the shoulders don't lift. The shoulders go down. When they go down, you can lift your chest up. That's the perfect action for the Shirshasana. And so we're going to go into this in stages, and you can stop anywhere along that way. Okay? So first stage, we'll do it without the wall. We're going to curl the fingers down. Take the pinky and clip it under. Make sure the elbows are as wide as your armpits and no wider. Press down on the outer wrist. Thumbs are lifted. Now, bring the crown of the head down towards the floor and lift your hands cup against the back side of your head. Thumbs are lifting and they brace against the back of the head. Notice your shoulders are going to fall down. Lift them away from the ears. And then from there, curl the toes and lift the hips up. And you're going to slowly walk in. So here, this may be the part of the pose that you're going to practice. Maybe that you're working with the flexibility and you're back here. Bend the knees a little bit and bring the feet forward, but keep the shoulders lifting. And then pressurize the forearms down. And then go ahead and compact the outer shoulders a little bit in. And then when you're ready, you're going to come down, bring the knees to the floor, and then rest. So it takes time to build up the strength in the neck, support the body. So you may injure yourself due to poor alignment. It's highly possible, probably very highly probable. So it's better to take it in stride and practice this regularly. Many of you want to be able to go up, but maybe you don't practice it so much. And it's something that you can make part of your daily home practice. So let's try to go up. I'm going to go back to my blanket, and you can see from the side and from the back. I'm going to interlace my fingers. Elbows as wide as my armpits. Bring my head down, the crown of the head rests to the floor. Pressurize against the inner wrist and the inner outer arm bones. And then again, I'm going to walk in
And then I'll come down again and just kind of size up, see how I am. Oftentimes people like to bring the fingers all the way to the wall, which you can do if that makes you feel a little more comfortable. But the key is that you don't want to have those shoulders rounding. You're going to hurt your neck big time. Okay, let's go ahead and then come in, walk in, and now I'm going to try to lift one leg up. So this is where the early practice of bringing the leg into the thigh, into the belly really helps, right? Having that strength to access, so I can lift and then bring that other leg up. Lift the shoulder heads away from the floor. Heels are resting against the wall. If you feel comfortable, you can take the feet away from the wall. Good, and then just breathe here a few more rounds. Now to come down, you want to come down slowly. And if you can, bring one leg down at a time. And then the second leg. And then release in child pose. Over time, we will spend more time in the inversion. If you notice that you have any tightness in the neck, just place your fist under your chin and stretch your throat. So the more access that you have to your abdomen, the more you'll be able to navigate in that inversion. And then it's a little bit about finding it's like a sweet spot of the balance. All right. Let's come up. Next is going to be the shoulder stand with the plow position. So there are a few ways to get ourselves into plow. And you can, again, use the wall for support. One way is to bring the hips close to the wall, and then bring your legs up. Bend the knees a little bit. And then I'm sort of inching myself towards the wall so that my legs are comfortable in a little bit of a right angle. Bring the hands to the sides of the hips, and we're going to press the feet into the wall and lift the hips up. Maybe walk your feet a little higher. Good, and then interlace your fingers underneath or behind you. Wrap your shoulders underneath the back, and then press the hands down. So you're kind of like in a bridge pose, a little bit of an upside down variation of it. Okay, and then from there you can release and you can slowly come down. So that's like a half plow position using support of the wall. Another way to do it is to use the wall as a direction to place your feet on. Oftentimes we can't get the hips up and then bring the feet to the hands, right? Because we're working on the flexibility of the back body, or maybe there's some weakness in the lower back, or there's just tightness. So we can use the wall. You can also use a chair to place the feet on. So that's going to look like this. You're going to look back. You can measure, right? You can measure this way and then spin. And then bring your hips about a foot forward. Then lie down and lift your hips up, roll back, and bring your feet to the wall. And same action. You start to roll the shoulders under the back. Keep the hands at the hips now, and your feet can touch the wall. Right, so that builds a little bit of confidence with being upside down. You'll feel the chin touching into the thyroid, And here's a natural Jalandhara Bandha, right? Here's that natural throat lock happening. And then slowly, slowly, as you begin to feel a little more confident or more flexible, you can start to walk the feet down and then maybe come into the full variation. Right, and then to come out, you can catch your hip with your hands and just slowly roll down. So another variation you can do for plow position, if it's still very difficult to get up because of different issues, and I don't need to name them all. If you're experiencing it, you know what I'm talking about. And so the point is you don't have to practice the pose. There's many benefits to the pose, especially for hormonal balance, both in any kind of body that you have. As it's a natural Jalandhara Bandha, it's a natural throat lock. But we can use the block. And we practiced this before, where you place the block underneath the hip. You come up into the bridge pose. You hold the front of the block, and then you lift the feet up. And you come into, would be the variation for the shoulder stand. But if it's absolutely impossible to get the hips up, you can use the support of the block, right? And you can practice with the knees bent in a modified type of plow pose. Good. And then you can bring the feet down and then remove the block and slide down. So those are just a few ways to navigate it. For the plow pose without any of the wall support or chair support, I do like to use a blanket, but you don't have to. You can practice without a blanket. Depends on how flexible the psoas is and all this. You can also use multiple blankets. So I'll show that variation as well. It allows a little bit more extension of the whole body up. So I'm creating like a light little shelf. And I'll lie down. You can join me. If you're not using any props, just lay down. And if you are going to use the wall, go back into the position to use the wall. With the blankets, the head is going to be off the blanket, but the shoulders on. So the head is resting on the sticky mat or the floor. And my shoulders are on the blanket. From here, I'm going to lift my hips, and I am going to come back into that bridge pose. Because this position of shoulder stand or Sarvangasana is oftentimes people do shoulder blade stand rather than the shoulder stand. It's not really the position is to be on top of the shoulders. Then I'll release my hips down, and now I'm going to come into the plow pose first. So I'm going to inhale and then exhale. Bring my feet overhead and come into plow. You can still practice this with support of the wall. You would just bring your feet to the wall or to the top of a chair, to the seat of the chair. Then you're going to roll the shoulders under and under and under. You'll notice that the hips can now be right over the shoulders quite comfortably. Then bring your elbows as close as you can to one another, bend the elbows then, and then place your hands on your back. And I like to actually take my shirt down and hold my skin. It has a lot more friction. And I'm really going to feel this connection with my chin to my throat. And I'm going to inhale here and then exhale. Good. And then the next bit, we'll go ahead and raise one leg up. And then again, coming into that split, right, that we practiced earlier today. Extending the left leg up, the right foot is touching the ground, maybe. And then inhale with a strong left leg, reaching to the ceiling. Now my right leg's going to join it. And I'm going to bring them both together. And I'm going to start to walk my hands closer and closer to my shoulder blades. Squeeze my buttocks a little bit. And then lift through the legs. So coming into this balance, coming into this inversion. staying a little bit longer if you can. So here your diaphragm is really getting a lot of benefit from the gravitational force moving in the other direction. And this really helps strengthen our diaphragm. As long as your breath is deep and you're aware of your breath and focusing on the breath. The pose will keep shrinking towards the earth. That's what the gravity does. So make a couple of modifications here and there so you can keep lifting the legs up. So there are all sorts of variations in the leg positions that we can do. And if I remember, we'll do that another time, but just here, maybe this is just a good way to get yourself up and stabilize. So to come down, we don't want to just fall out. The best idea is to bring both legs down. One at a time is fine too, but if you can, bring both legs down and then come back into your plow position. Select your breath, inhale. And if you have the access, bring the hands towards your feet and come into another variation of plow. Good. Then from here in the Ashtanga system, there is Karna Pidasana. So we'll practice that today. Bring the knees now, bend the knees and bring the knees around the outsides of the ear and close off the ears. And then inhale. And then exhale, we're going to straighten out the legs now. And we're going to slowly roll down. Vertebrae by vertebrae. Then bend the knees about halfway down. And if you did use a blanket, go ahead and you can slide backwards so that your shoulders now come off of the blanket. And now you're just in a little bit of a back bend. And everybody just rest in Shavasana just for a few breaths. And then pick your chin up, lift the chin towards the sky. And exhale, everybody, just bring the chin down. And now bend your knees into your chest and roll off to one side and come all the way up. Okay, so that brings us to one more posture. And that is the Urdhva Dhanurasana. That is the back bend, the wheel position. Now this pose can be done as well in different stages. We did a few bridge poses today. So this is also, again, another variation that is very good to help you build the strength in the legs, to also help you open the chest. And you can practice it with a block or without a block. So let's do it first with the block. We'll roll down, bend the knees, lift the hips up, place the block underneath the lower back, under the sacrum. And then if you don't have a block, don't worry, just go ahead and practice it without it. You'll just do it a few more times. So let's go ahead and just lengthen through the lower back. Let the tailbone lift towards the pubis bone. Wrap the shoulder heads down again. You can also place a blanket underneath your shoulders if you find that you're just not reaching the floor in this variation, or the block can be lowered to the midpoint. Then from there, you're going to stretch out one leg and then the second leg. And let's go ahead and open the front of the hips. Right, coming into the opposite direction of the plow position. Press through the heels. Come into your Ujjayi breath here. Pressurize your lower back on the block. And then from there, let's go ahead and bend the right knee or the left, place the shoulder on the floor, and then opposite leg comes in. Have a nice right angle bent into the legs. And then go ahead and inhale. And then exhale, let's press the heels into the floor and then remove the block and slowly roll down vertebrae by vertebrae. Good, and then if you'd like, bring the knees into the chest. We'll take a few breaks here and there. Let's bring the feet to the floor again. You can repeat the previous position if you'd like. Otherwise, we're going to come into bridge pose without any of the props supporting. Bend the elbows into that 90-degree angle. Pressurize the upper arm bones down. And let's go ahead and now lift the chest, lift the hips, interlace the fingers, and come into bridge pose. So we've done this pose a few times. So if you can stabilize here, it's fine. If you'd like to do variations, let's go ahead and pressurize the right sole, the right foot in to the floor, and then bring your left knee into your chest, and then stretch your left leg up. Activating the muscles of the leg a little bit stronger. Wrap your shoulders down and back. And then from there, bend your left knee to your chest, place the left foot down. Let's lift up again with the hip, and then pressurize the left foot down. Inhale, bring the right knee into the chest, and then exhale, let's lift it up. Good, bend your right knee, place the from the right foot down, lift up again one more time, and then slowly roll down, releasing the grip of the hands, and come all the way down. Press your knees into each other, have an inhale, and exhale. Okay, now we'll go into Asana, and I am posting a graphic, a little graphic on this position to go a little bit more information in there in the module. So reach the arms back, and then exhale, bend your elbows, bring the elbows together, right? Instead of letting them come to the side, make sure that they are together. So we'll come up in stages. Just lengthen the lower back, parallel your feet, press evenly into the soles of the feet. You're going to lengthen the lower back a lot as you lift the hips up, maintaining the elbows close together. Let's inhale. And on the exhale, you're going to lightly press your hands into the floor and slide your head back so the crown of the head comes to the floor. Then pressurize a little bit with the crown of the head, and then inhale, press into the legs, press into the arms and the hands, and come up. Good, let the energy of the spine move out towards the ribs. Bring your chest towards your chin a little bit, shoulder blades into the back, and lift your back ribs towards the ceiling. Good, and then bring your chin to your throat, everybody, and slowly come down. Rest 1 or 2 breaths. And let's go up again. Inhale and exhale. Reach your arms back, bend the elbows. Inhale, spread the fingers nice and wide. Remember those elbows together. Exhale, lift the hips. Inhale again. Exhale, come to the crown of the head. Maybe walk the feet away a little bit. Inhale, bend forward through the knees, and then exhale. Press through the arms, press through the legs. Let the head drop down like a fruit. If you'd like to come behind the tippy toes, you can do that. Lift the heels up, heels down, and then slowly lower down. If you'd like to stay up a little longer, please do. Count 5 breaths. And then if you'd like to repeat one more time, please go up. I will just rest here for 5 breaths if you'd like to join me. Good, and so if you're doing the 3rd variation, make your way down now. And then when everybody's ready, go ahead and bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little hug. Maybe crisscross your ankles. Hold the outsides of the feet. And then from there, everybody, let's go ahead and roll up or roll to the right side and come all the way up. Good, and then just go ahead and crisscross your shins and come into a nice forward fold. And then just release your spine down. And then inhale, let's come up. Good, turn to the side, extend the legs out. We're gonna bend the right knee. We're gonna come into a variation of Vajrasana. So bring your right foot outside of your left knee. And then bring your right hand back. Inhale, reach your left arm up, and then exhale, turn to your right, and then hook the arm outside of the knee. If you'd like to grip the front of the knee, that's fine too. Good, and then just gently release your spine, look over your right shoulder. And if you can also place the hand outside of the left knee, left hand. Good, and then exhale, let's go ahead and unwind, uncross that right foot, and then slide the right leg straight. Let's bend the left knee on the inhale, cross over, reach your left arm back, right arm up, come up, exhale, cross and turn, and then wrap, look over your left shoulder. Good, and then exhale, let's go ahead and release. And then now from here, everybody, go ahead and grab something to sit on that you feel comfortable. Because I hope that this has been instructional for you for some of these more challenging postures that are so wonderful for you, for the nervous system, for the cardiovascular system, for the digestive system, for the endocrine system, and for so many benefits. So let's go ahead and conclude our practice with just sitting quiet for a few moments before we chant the closing mantra. Bring the fingertips together, thumb and index finger. Palms can face down or up. Let's go ahead and come into some light Ujjayi breathing. Again, to center the mind. We'll focus on the heart center today. Let the eyes close. And then inhale through both nostrils. Exhale, creating the sound of the ocean. Inhaling. Exhaling the ocean sound. One more inhale. And exhale. Let's join our palms together in Namaste at the heart. And just bow your forehead in slightly, creating that slight chin lock, that slight bandha of the throat. Let your breath be natural and free. And allow your attention to come to the heart center. Let it go in there deep into the vastness of that space. And I will chant the closing mantras for us. May I be led from ignorance to knowledge. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Ghamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And may all beings be happy everywhere. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Good. Bringing your awareness out of the heart. Inhale deeply. And then exhale softly. And then slowly open your eyes and release the hands down. So I do recommend that you lie down on your back and take at least 5 minutes of Shavasana or longer, anything that feels comfortable for yourself. So I will see you in the next practice. Please email me with any questions you may have or any comments you may post in this particular practice, and I'd be happy to answer them. All right, everybody. Hari Om Tat Sat, and see you next time.